freshman, a legend in the plans. Please listen every day to the showcase. The opinions and knowledge that anyone can take. Showing you how it is done. Proving I am number one, what a legend becomes. This is now my time to show you that I am here. This podcast just to make it loud and clear. By the fans, for the fans. Not many whose head can understand everything pro wrestling. It can never be you. Listen to the podcast here for the people. The best show that's here, so listen in. Let the knowledge begin. The opinion and the lesson. Yes.
It's WrestleMania weekend, wrestling fans. We are coming off of Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor. I'm going to try and mix that with NXT Stand and Deliver. It should be very interesting to get into some of the talks of what went down, some of the things that we heard. Really interesting stuff. Let's not waste any time. I kind of just want to get a quick preview out because WrestleMania Night 1 is happening today, and we're going to be live on YouTube following that. So make sure you guys go to Everything Pro Wrestling. And if you don't know, Everything Pro Wrestling is a show by the fans, for the fans. We cover everything and anything we can when we have the time in between for pro wrestling. So make sure you guys head on over and check us out and see if you like some of our work. Let's get into this Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor 2022. This is the first show under Tony Khan's version of Ring of Honor, and it's kind of a hybrid, a transition show, many would say. I don't know what the future for Ring of Honor holds, though. Is it going to become their version of NXT? Is it going to become a developmental system? Is it going to be a separate brand? We really don't know, and there was no indication tonight like where this was going. I do know that if it is going to even be a developmental brand, you're going to need people on there who the fans are familiar with, who are big name stars to attract people to come in to want to pay and watch this. So it's going to be interesting to see what Tony does with all of this. And I've already listened to the media scrum. There was nothing in there that indicated that there was a deal in place, or if anything, it seems like everything's kind of still being worked on and left up in the open. Let's go through some of these matches really quickly here. Colt Cabana versus All Heart Blake Christian. This was a really good opportunity for Blake Christian to show what he can do for fans who didn't really get to see him in WWE. Colt Cabana, someone who hasn't been used in AEW as often as we would probably like since he's been brought in. But I think Ring of Honor could be the perfect place for him to escape and get away. Like I said, I think creatively Ring of Honor can help AEW with people like Colt Cabana. He's been in the Dark Order. It's a big group, not a lot for him to do. Why don't we take some of those guys out of there and bring them over to Ring of Honor and split it up? You know, there's a way to get some of this stuff done. This was a great back and forth match, and it was very different. It looked like Colt Cabana used, he did still do some of his comedic wrestling that's for some people and other people don't like it. But in it, though, I think they had him become more of he used more of a power style, we'll say. Very interesting to see what they did. Colt Cabana eventually gets the victory, hitting him with the Chicago Skyline, and it was a fun match, man. Overall, really good. And we start off the night with the traditional Ring of Honor handshake to end a match. I like it. I dig it. It was cool. And this was on the 0 hour pre-show for them. They had a couple matches in here. Next, we had up AQA, who has recently been signed by Ring of Honor. By AEW, and she's competing on this versus Miranda Elise, and they went in this one and they put on a heck of a match too. I thought both ladies started off with a handshake, respectful exchanges back and forth. During the match, though, we got a beautiful shooting star press hit by AQA. I love the way her shooting star press looks, and I'm happy that she got an opportunity to get signed to AEW. Very good for her. So AQA came out of Booker T's school, and she's just impressed me so far with what I've seen. And I think she's someone who we should keep an eye on for working bigger shows in the future. So good match here. She definitely gets the victory. And I'll say this, Elise's gear looked really good. I love the way Miranda Elise's gear looks. She always comes out looking really cool. So thumbs up to her for that. And she definitely put on some good wrestling as well. Next, We have Shinobi Shadow Squad. That is your boy Cheeseburger and and I'm a huge Cheeseburger fan. And yes, there's a pro wrestler named Cheeseburger, but he's really good. I love him, and I loved all the stuff he's done with Liger. It's really good. And Shinobi Shadow Squad is really good too. I think in this match you wouldn't get that impression because they're debuting against a new tag team that's going to be managed by Tully Blanchard. We find out he's going to have a stable called Tully Blanchard's Enterprises. More on that later. But during this, we find out that he's got two people, and it's Khan and Toa Leona, and they come out and they wreck, and they are going to be known as the Gates of Agony. They came out there and did what they had to do, just destroyed everyone. They look like monsters, like Cheeseburger and Eli Isom definitely just put them over completely. Like, yes, done. It was good. They got some offense in, but they got destroyed, and it made Tully Blanchard's new group look strong. Really fun. And the last match for the zero hour was Dalton Castle and Joe Hendry. They went out there. These are two of Ring of Honor's like main staple guys, and they did a lot of different things in this one. This one was a match. They had the Ring of Honor spots, like several big spots, almost having the victory had here. But in the end, they had Dalton Castle pick up the win, and I was cool with it. It worked fine. Now, looking at some of the stuff that we have here for the main card, we get into Swerve Strickland versus Alex Zane, two of my favorites, and I think this was the best match to open up with. And I've been one to, now I'm a big Swerve fan. I do not like the double stomp finish he's been using. I think that could be a move, but I don't think it should be his finisher. For some reason, that double stomp it's tough for me to buy into it or feel that move. And in this match, he got to do something a little bit different, and I like this a lot. Alex Zane, if you don't know, he's been traveling all over the place. He's good friends with Tiff from Indie Wrestling Corner. Love the interviews she's done with Alex Zane. I would highly recommend you check him out if you want to get to know Alex Zane some more. He's a big fan of tacos, so check out my guy. And yeah, this was really good, man. The exchanges, the reversals, and everything in this one was fire. The fans were really into the Swerve's house too. They were yelling that a lot throughout the match. And to me, everything changes in this match once Zayn hits the Poison Rana from the apron to the floor. And from that, we saw like the desperation spots. They were so fast to try to make sure that they defeated the other person. Eventually, after Zayn went for a finisher, he was able to like hop out of it, and Swerve was going for the house call. Zayn ducked it. It was really cool. In the end, he ends up folding him up and putting him down with a JML driver. Really good stuff, man. Like I would say that was actually a great opener for them and the best thing that they could have done at this point. And I just mentioned Tiff interviewing people, and here's Ninja Mac. She's also interviewed him as well. Ninja Mac is out next, and he's taking on whoever Tully Blanchard's new client is. So this is the final piece to Tully Blanchard's Enterprises. And I don't think anyone was really surprised by this. It turned out to be no one that would shock people. It was Brian Cage. He recently signed back with AEW. They used their option with him to keep him around, supposedly, according to wrestling news sites. Brian Cage is the guy. He comes out, different haircut from when we last seen him on AEW, but he destroyed Ninja Mac in this one. And that's what you needed to do, though. He was amazing in this. He hit the Steiner screwdriver. Cage looked like he got a lot I don't know how to put this. Cage looked like he was refocused and he was ready to go in there and show people what he could do. So hopefully this will correct everything that happened before. And I don't know why he wasn't used on television, but Ring of Honor seems like the perfect place for him, and he could be a star here. This is the benefit I'm talking about, though, with the Ring of Honor AEW stuff now. So really good stuff. And I think Tully Blanchard's got himself quite a crew here. and they look like they could be one of the top factions in the new Ring of Honor. So interesting. Up next, we had Jay Lethal and Lee Moriarty going at it. This was going to be a technically sound match. Lee Moriarty comes out there with Matt Sydal. He's still on crutches from an injury right now. And Jay Lethal has been extremely frustrated if you've been watching him in AEW. He's just been struggling in some of his matches, especially on television, to pick up victories, to do what he has to do. Lee Moriarty is on masterful when it comes to his submission defense. He's getting out of things. He's not letting Lethal put him away. Lethal, eventually they get into like this Ricky Steamboat, I always call it, like offensive maneuvers. Lee Moriarty's trying to roll him up. They're trying to get each other, and the pinfalls are getting really, really close. And Lethal goes for lethal injection. We get a backslide. And during this, the Jay Lethal uses a low blow to get the job done. And all I could say when I saw it was, say it ain't so, Jay. Say it ain't so. And he gets the victory afterwards by pinning him. And Lee Moriarty takes the L here, but the real story is Jay Lethal turning heel. Sydal yells at him, and after that, Lethal kicks the crutch away and begins beating on Matt Sydal too. And after it looks like he turns heel, Sanjay Dutt comes out, and he's yelling at him like, "What are you doing?" And I just couldn't believe it. But it was just like, what are they doing here? And yeah, man, this was really good. Lethal needed this. So it added something different to the match. Next up, we had the interim ROH Women's World Championship match where it was Willow Nightingale versus Mercedes Martinez. I am not a fan of the interim championships. Like, I don't like when the person's given a belt to hold temporarily until we get to the match with Deonna Purrazzo. She was in Impact doing the multiverse show. Shout out to the Insiders. They had a great show last night. I was watching that with them during their watch along. I don't know, man. Willow Nightingale, Mercedes Martinez. This was a good match. It was fun for a lot of it. Some of the spots towards the end, it got really physical. And I was hoping both ladies were all right at certain points in this match. But yeah, man, this one, like I said, I just think I don't like the interim championship where this could have just been number one contender when Deonna Purrazzo is contractually cleared to do this match. It was all right, man. Willow hit a beautiful moonsault off the top rope, and I was really pulling for Willow in this one. But sadly, she ended up not getting the win because Mercedes grabbed her in a dragon sleeper and took her out, and it was really good. She did hug Willow after the match. Really cool. So she is the ROH Interim Women's Champion, and to see Mercedes Martinez versus Deonna Purrazzo, I'm with it. Let's see what happens here with that. This is another person who's kind of been lost in the shuffle in the women's division in AEW, and not lost in the shuffle because she's been on television still, but I think this is a place where you can use her in a greater capacity. So good for Mercedes. I hope Willow gets signed as well. I'm a big fan of Willow, and I think that's something that could definitely be good for them. Now, I'm about to tell you something. We're about to talk about, in my opinion, match of the night. And I think it's going to be on that match of the year contender list when we talk about match of the year. It is for the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships. It's going to be the Briscoes, Dim Boys versus the Top Guys, FTR. This match has had talking and talking and talking on social media, little jabs at each other, and I loved it. And I loved this match. It was really, really fun. So during this match, both teams were holding themselves back a little bit until the ref calls for the bell. The crowd was chanting whatever they wanted during this. Like there was like F WrestleMania chants. It was classic Ring of Honor stuff. And this is what made the show feel like Ring of Honor to me. And I was just like, yo, really, really good, man. You got wrestling in this. You got fighting in this. And I don't even want to spoil it. The best recommendation I can tell you is you have to see this match from this show. If there's one match I'm like, you must see it, it's this match. And that's not to say, like, a lot of these matches have been good to great that I'm talking about too. So really good. You had the violence, striking. You had the submissions, the blood, the whatever, the technicality of whatever you wanted to see in this. It was a pro wrestling match, and I love that. FTR and the Briscoes brought the best out of each other tonight, and I thought it was really, really good. They even had a superplex out to the floor. I just yelled, "I love pro wrestling" once I was watching this. People are bleeding. There's blood on the floor. There's suplexes outside. Fans are going in, and they're going crazy. Eventually, FTR hits the big rig to capture the Ring of Honor tag team titles. You couldn't really ask for anything else. After the match, too, FTR in the ring, and there was a hug exchange between all of them. FTR make their way up the ramp with the AAA tag team titles and the Ring of Honor tag team titles. And after the match, there was a moment where they just they just looked back at the ring, and all of a sudden the Young Bucks were in the ring, and they super kick freaking the Briscoes, and the Young Bucks get on the microphone, and the fans are chanting "F the Young Bucks." It was just amazing, and I thought it was a good placement for the Young Bucks. It got the crowd woke up from this, and dude, so well done. And we finally get an announcement that on AEW Dynamite for the AAA tag team titles, it's going to be the FTR versus Young Bucks 2. This is a big match. This is going to be a big deal. I'm looking forward to the rematch because that was one of my favorite matches when they had their match at Full Gear as well. FTR's on they're steamrolling everybody right now, and they're on their quest to prove why they're the greatest tag team. And I think they're doing a hell of a job while doing it. So make sure you guys check out Dynamite. We will be live covering that on Wednesday as well. I can't wait. I cannot wait. Moving forward in the card, we had Rhett Titus versus Minoru Suzuki for the Ring of Honor Television Championship. During this, we had a lot of things happening here. Suzuki is in this match. He is hard hitting. The fans loved his theme. Rhett Titus is someone who I've met before. Very nice guy. Really great wrestling in this one. Hard hitting. You could tell the crowd was like a little bit tired afterwards, but Suzuki and Titus did a good job getting people over in this one. To follow a match of the year like matchup like we just had with the tag match is never easy. I'm just going to get to the point. Suzuki wins with a Gotch style pile driver for his first title win in a United States promotion, which I thought was really cool. And I'm happy that Suzuki gets this dub. I was surprised by it because I really had Rhett Titus penciled in to win this because I thought he would be staying with Ring of Honor. He's kind of been a staple there, but things don't seem for certain with that. So Suzuki winning, he's going to be taking the belt to New Japan now. I'm with it. Like, let's see what they do here. Really, really good stuff here. Interesting to see what happens. Next up, we had Josh Woods versus Wheeler Yuta in a pure championship match. The pure rules are something that I think anybody who is just a wrestling fan would like. They're going to go in there and they're going to wrestle. You only have 3 rope breaks. It's very different. You cannot do closed fist punches in the matches. It's all technical wrestling. And if that's your style, you would really enjoy the pure rules and the pure championship. So in this match, if you don't know, Wheeler Yuta is a great wrestler. He's probably one of the most technically sound wrestlers that you could have on your roster. And during this, Yuta eventually uses his final rope break, I think, by putting his foot on the ropes. They're wrestling. Yuta eventually rolls Woods over into a pin, and he gets the victory, but he used the elbows that Danielson always uses to get the victory. And I thought that was kind of like a little nod to the storyline that they've been doing with Moxley, Regal, Woods, and Danielson on AEW. The Blackpool Combat Club have a faction, and they're trying to, Yuta seems like he wants to join them. And now he's the pure rules champion, and that's a belt that Danielson has held. I find things are getting interesting. And I believe they said William Regal was there watching this. So I'm sure Regal was around somewhere, and I think this is all going to come into play later on. So things to just be mindful of going forward. Um, they did have as judges BJ Whitmer, Colt Cabana, and Christopher Daniels, like that, all Ring of Honor legends. And it's weird that we're seeing some of the legends now. When I think of Ring of Honor, these were some of the guys it was built around, and they're judges now. It's just crazy to me. Maybe it's just me getting old thing. But let's get to the main event. We're trying to crown an undisputed Ring of Honor champion. We have Bandito versus Jonathan Gresham. Now we can't have two Ring of Honor champions running around all the time. Both guys have defended their titles in other promotions, and in this we have a great match. This one took a little bit to get off of the floor, but that's a Ring of Honor thing. You have to stick with it, and then eventually you're going to get to some really goodness in this. Bandito had conversations earlier in the night with Chavo. Chavo Guerrero was in his corner, and Chavo was trying to help him, and he got upset when Chavo was interfering in the match. Chavo's like, no, 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 just capitalize. And then eventually Chavo got caught a second time interfering. He used the belt on Gresham behind the ref's back, but Bandito refused to go for the pin. He told the ref to kick Chavo to the back. I don't know what happened because eventually they get into these long exchanges back and forth, close pinfalls, but Gresham would eventually get the pinfall victory on him with a nice cradle. And Bandito handed him the belt and helped him celebrate the victory. Gresham is getting ready to close the show with his speech, and then we get an interruption by Jay Lethal. The show ends with Lethal coming out there, and Sanjay Dutt's back out again, yelling at Lethal, like, what are you doing, man? And eventually, there's history between Lethal and Gresham, for those that don't know. Basically, Lethal was kind of the teacher, and Gresham was the student, and now we're at the point of, okay, we're going to end up doing something a little bit different here. And now Gresham's the champ, and where's Lethal? And Sanjay and Jay Lethal attack Jonathan Gresham after his hard-fought match. There's no one there. And then we hear some new music that fans would be unfamiliar with. But as soon as I heard it, I knew. One of my favorites, Samoa Joe, has shown up in Ring of Honor. He is all elite. We got the graphic for him and Wheeler Yuta tonight. So really dope to see that. Joe comes out to make the save. And I thought it was really fun. Joe was on the media scrum with Tony Khan. They address everything. Joe was trying to help WWE. We found out at one point get the Ring of Honor library. That didn't happen. And now Joe says he's here. He's willing to compete in the Owen Hart Cup. He's here to wrestle. So let's get it, man. Samoa Joe is here. I absolutely love it. This is some good stuff right now. Really good stuff, and I look forward to seeing what Ring of Honor's got to bring forward for us. Now, I'm going to upload this after NXT Stand and Deliver is about to start here in 10 minutes, and I will bring that to you guys. Thank you for listening, and I'll catch you on the next part. We are back, everybody, with an NXT Stand and Deliver. Just wanted to kind of go over everything pretty quickly for this. This is completely different than the NXT that I knew and loved, the black and gold brand. This is NXT 2.0 now, and they've kind of went a route of looking for athletes, younger wrestlers. Everything's kind of changed from what we loved about NXT black and gold. And is it bad? No, I don't think so. I wouldn't say that, but I don't think it's as good as it used to be. I could definitely agree with that. Let's get into what was on this card, shall we? And you'll see what I'm talking about when I speak about some of the wrestlers that are here right now and what they're trying to do. And like I said, you're going to hear some good, and you're going to hear some things like, what? If you listen to some of my previous commentaries about NXT a year ago even, just completely different how it is now. For the pre-show, we had the NXT Women's Tag Team titles on the line. We had Toxic Attraction defending against Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez. Toxic Attraction is the new trio that's been kind of the hot thing right now in NXT 2.0. And we have Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez, who reunited recently. So they had their big breakup. Raquel went on to become the NXT Women's Champion. And then they had the breakup after that, and Dakota Kai challenged. She failed, and they brought her up for some tryout matches. I don't know what happened with that. And then she came back to NXT. She had a little bit of a different gimmick on NXT 2.0. very odd everything that just happened with that whole situation. And now they're reunited already. And like I said, Raquel was the NXT Women's Champion, and now she's wrestling for the tag titles. And maybe it's just one of those you can't be in the top spot forever. I get it. So they give them this match, and Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez pick up the victory here. JC Jane gets hit with a vicious power bomb from Raquel Gonzalez. There was no other way I think that you could have ended this match. I'm glad to see that they finally got the NXT Women's Tag Team titles. That's a positive note for them. So I'll be interested to see what they do. I just feel like NXT doesn't have enough teams to warrant having women's NXT tag team titles, but hopefully that's something that changes in the future. But I'd like to see them put some more prestige on those titles. Next up, we had the North American ladder match. Absolutely one of those wild matches. I fear for Grayson Waller. He jumped off the top with a crazy elbow drop. And he looked like, I've heard rumors that he broke his arm. He might have injured his elbow. So prayers to Grayson Waller. Hopefully he's all right. We saw a lot of things from people, even the managers involved in this. They were on the outside just doing a bunch of different things. And this ladder match just was crazy. I've never seen something like it before. People were all over the place. Santos Escobar's in here. Solo Sikoa, Carmelo Hayes, Trick Williams. They had it all. Legado del Fantasma's on the outside. Lots of shenanigans and foolery. Santos really did a lot in this match, and he kept a lot of it together. Like, I'm looking at some of the gifts right now. That powerbomb spot through the ladder, absolutely nasty. He also hit a nice hurricanrana off the top on Grayson Waller. Grayson Waller did really well here too. But Santos seemed to be involved in all the big spots, making sure that they happened and they went through. In the end, Cameron Grimes walks away with the North American Championship. Happy for the guy. He's been around since the previous NXT. This was the perfect place for him to get the championship here. Carmelo Hayes is a star. Like everybody in this match, I see great star potential in. And I really think that's something that they're going to have to be mindful of in the future. Calling some of these guys up. Maybe Carmelo Hayes is about to get the call up. Some of these guys are ready. Let them go. Let them become big deals. I think it's time to give some of those guys that respect that they deserve. Let me see. The next match we're going to talk about. Let's talk about the NXT Triple Threat Tag Team Championship match for the NXT titles. This one we had Imperium versus the Creed Brothers versus MSK. Malcolm Bivens came out looking like Cameron / Pinky from Friday. What was he doing? Malcolm Bivens, that boy is a fool, bro. He had the do-rag on, all pink. He was feeling himself. They had the towels as well for the Creed Brothers. I like it. MSK came out. They had a pretty cool DJ entrance. And Imperium, no nonsense, pure wrestling. I love it. Really good stuff in this match. My main highlights I could think of, this was the crazy stuff that you would expect from these teams. High spots, people doing a bunch of stuff. They did the Tower of Doom. Not a fan of those. We got to see the strength of the Creed brothers when they wrestle. They are good. Fabian Eichner's in here just doing sick stuff like he always does. Fabian Eichner's really underrated, man. Like, he doesn't get enough credit. MSK's doing hurricanranas from inside the ring to the apron onto the floor. Nuts. Everything that happens in this. The finish comes when, first, one of the Creed brothers hits the cannonball off the top rope onto everybody on the floor. That takes everybody out, and that allows MSK to hit the hurricanrana into a power bomb on, I believe it was Fabian Eichner, if I'm not mistaken. Or no, it was Marcel Bartel, excuse me. On Marcel, and they pick up the victory here. So MSK regained the tag titles. They were the last ones I was thinking that were going to get them. They were able to pull it out. Next up, we had the NXT Women's Championship. This was decided in a fatal four-way. Mandy Rose, the leader of Toxic Attraction, versus Io Shirai, Kaylee Ray, and Cora Jade. And Cora Jade's kind of the rookie in this one. Some people thought maybe she would pull it out. Some people thought maybe they go back to Io or Kaylee Ray. But I thought it was very they put so much behind Mandy Rose. You kind of had to keep it on her at this point. But we got to see a lot of craziness. We saw the Canadian Destroyer done on the apron. We saw moonsaults to the floor. We saw a nice Spanish fly from Io to Mandy. And they give you a spot where you thought it was really, really close. And during that, you're like, oh, this is it. And she finally hits her big moonsault. Io does it, but she doesn't go for the pen right away. She kind of sits up, looks, and she catches a knee right to the face from Mandy Rose. 1, 2, 3. Mandy Rose is able to retain. I will say it's probably one of Mandy Rose's best matches, though, that I've seen so far. So I do think the NXT move was the right move for her to go down there and do some different stuff. Next up, we had Tommaso Ciampa versus Tony D'Angelo, and I'm not going in order, by the way. I'm using SE Scoops to go through the matches. I know some of them are out of order. Tony D'Angelo does the it's a stereotypical gimmick of a mafia person. Call it what you want. The guy actually went to school by me at the University of Buffalo. He's a tremendous athlete. And Tommaso Ciampa, another great wrestler. This was already known to be his last match in NXT. And he got a special video package and everything. And Tommaso Ciampa was aggressive early on, beating down Tony D'Angelo. He was hitting him with knee strikes. You got to see all of his patting at the clap and the pat on the back stuff, hitting DDTs. And eventually, Tony D'Angelo catches him with a low blow, hits a DDT for 2, and then Tony D'Angelo wins with his finisher. That's not even the main point of this match. After the match, though, Tommaso Ciampa was given the ring. Everybody's yelling, "Thank you, Ciampa." He's getting all the claps, and when he's coming out, you hear Triple H's music hit, and Tommaso Ciampa's keeping it moving. Like he's like, "Oh, he must have something to say. I'm gonna keep going." But before you can make it through the curtain to the back, Triple H says, "Get back out here," and Triple H gives him a hug and whispers something to him. And I don't know if this was like a setup that he's retiring or if he's just going to the main roster. So we're going to have to keep our eyes peeled for what's going to happen here with Tommaso Ciampa. But Tommaso Ciampa was definitely this might have been his last dance with NXT, and I'm happy for the dude, man. Really, really good. He meant so much to the Black and Gold brand, and he really helped establish NXT 2.0. He put over a lot of these guys and worked with a lot of them. So big shout out to Tommaso Ciampa. Next, we have LA Knight versus Gunther. LA Knight is someone who I've been yelling for a long time, should be on the main roster. This dude's got it. He can cut promos. He's someone who you could possibly insert into the main event picture if you book him right. I really think LA Knight's got potential, but he's been down in NXT and he's just been doing stuff that's kind of head scratching at times. But it looks like if we're going to assume the old school ways, he's been booked to get beat because he's on his way out. LA Knight went up against Gunther. That is the former Walter. Why do they have to change people's names? I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. It was a hard-hitting but short match, this one. Lots of chops. Well, you know what to expect in this one. LA Knight was great. The crowd was really feeling him. And he ends up getting the victory after a short arm clothesline off the top rope to LA Knight and hits him with a power bomb. Big victory. But LA Knight was impressive in this one. I'm telling you, it was really, really good. Got to give him his props. And in the main event for NXT Stand and Deliver, you have the NXT champion, Dolph Ziggler. I did not say that wrong. Dolph Ziggler is the NXT champion versus Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker, hashtag call him Steiner. He is Rick Steiner's son. I wish they would have called him Rex Steiner like they had originally had the rumors of, because I think that would be a better name for him. But Braun Breaker is one of the leaders, and he's someone who I think is going to be main eventing a WrestleMania in the future. This dude is pretty good, and he's shown what he's worth, especially in this match. Dolph Ziggler won a triple threat last month on NXT with Ciampa, Breaker, and himself in it. Tommaso Ciampa was who he pinned in it. Braun has been just looking for him. He finally gets his rematch, and this is the big rematch here. And his dad went in the Hall of Fame yesterday with his uncle Scott Steiner. Like this has got to be an incredible weekend for this young man. Several times during this, we had Braun Breaker do several things, and like I'm pulling it up right now. This is the move where he's going up from the top rope. That's what you just heard in the background here. Braun Breaker was going for the Frankensteiner off the top rope. He was doing so many different things, just trying to put together something. And he just couldn't defeat Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler was everywhere. He hit him with a very nasty spear in this match. Bobby Roode got kicked out at one point, and eventually, when Roode's getting kicked out, Ziggler rips off the middle turnbuckle pad, and it gets forgotten about in the match because you're getting caught up in all the moments and everything. Eventually, Braun looks like he's got the victory in hand. The ref's counting 1, 2. Roode shows back up and pulls Ziggler out of the ring. This allows Braun to do a dive over the top rope. They're back and forth on who's going to try to win this. Ziggler hits the Famouser. He hits the zigzag. Nothing will put this kid away. And eventually he pulls him into the exposed turnbuckle, hits a super kick. 1, 2, 3. Dolph Ziggler is still your NXT champion. And I'm glad I didn't catch any music on that one. I didn't want to upload it with that in there. I'm just going to leave that error in there because that was 100% my fault. I thought that was a GIF that I clicked on. But Dolph Ziggler wins. This is a different NXT, man. Like I said from before, it's very raw light. You got segments on this Stand and Deliver show. It wasn't like the old takeovers where it was just wrestling. Great match quality. These guys are stars. They're putting on a show. It was not like that this time. Very different. But let me know what you guys think, man. Tonight we are going to be doing a review of WrestleMania Night 1. If so, head on over to YouTube, type in Everything Pro Wrestling, click subscribe, and turn on your notifications, and we will let you know when we go live to talk WrestleMania Night 1. There's a lot of exciting things happening on tonight's show, and I can't wait to talk about it with you guys. Let me know how you feel about the new NXT. Follow me on all social media, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, wherever it may be, at EPW Show, and come talk with us, man. For now, until WrestleMania Night 1, we are out. I will see you guys later.
Everyday pro wrestling, they can never be you. Listen to the podcast for the people, the best show that's here, so listen in. Let the knowledge begin, the opinions, the lesson, yes. For the fans, not many in this can understand, This the podcast to show you who I am, Conrad Cushman, the legend in the plans, Please listen every day to the showcase. The opinions and knowledge that anyone can take. Showing you how it is done. Proving I am number one. What a legend becomes. This is now my time to show you that I am here. This podcast just to make it loud and clear. By the fans, for the fans, not many who's here can understand everything pro wrestling, they can never be you. Listen to the podcast here for the people, the best show that's here, so listen in. Let the knowledge begin, the opinion and the lesson, yes. Everyday pro wrestling, they can never be you. Listen to the podcast for the people, the best show that's here, so listen in. Let the knowledge begin, the opinions, the lesson, yes.